Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, my name is Nurlena from the English Language Education Study Program, third semester. Here I was assigned to create learning materials for the Reading Comprehension Course 3 with the lecturer Mrs. Nenglia Khoiria MPD. Let's look at the material Good Understanding. For the first material is about inference. What is meant by inference? Let's look at the following. An inference is a conclusion that you draw about something by using information that you already have about it. We can derive inference from based on what we see and feel. Inference are conclusions or deductions made based on facts or information that is not explicitly stated. Inference are made by examining the facts of a given situation and determining what those facts suggest about the situations. Inference can be accurate or inaccurate, justified or unjustified, logical or illogical. Infer is to make logical conclusions or opinions based on observations, facts, reasoning, and evidence. In the process of reading, you making inference based on the information provided. You are aware of the clues in the text and relate them to personal experiences to find out what is implicitly conveyed. Continue to the material, how to making inference. How you realize that you often do inference in your daily life. So, how to apply it when reading? First, read the text as a whole. You will understand what the text is talking about in general. Then, find evidence that supports your assumption. From the evidence, you can make inference and predictions about what the author doesn't say directly. Consider the following text. The example of inference. When I walked into the kitchen, I found my little brother lying on the floor clutching his stomach and groaning. He was surrounded by discarded candy wraps and the now empty bucket of Halloween candy. What facts did you find in the short passage? There are a few things you can infer. His younger brother was clutching his stomach and groaning. He was even lying on the floor. This shows that he has a stomachache. There are candy wraps around him, which means he has eaten the candy. The candy basket was empty. There was no one else around, and the only one in pain was the younger brother, so he probably finished the candy. Seeing the connection between the candy being used up and the stomachache, it is likely that the little boy got sick from eating too much candy. The incident happened after Halloween. How it's not difficult, right? There is a lot of information that you can extract from the short passage. To make the inference process easier, you can ask the following questions. For the first, can you infer what is about to happen? Can you draw any conclusions about the story based on what the character said or did? Why did you make that inference or draw that conclusion? The second, what did you already know that helped you make that inference or draw that conclusion? The third, what from the text helped you to make that inference or draw that conclusion? The fourth is predict what you believe will happen next or why you think the character did or said. And the last, what from the text caused you to make that predictions? Continue to the second material is conclusion. Drawing conclusion refers to information that you implied or inferred. This means that the information is never clearly stated. A conclusion is a judgment or decision reached after considering all the relevant information, facts, or evidence. It is the final result or outcome of a process of reasoning or analysis. In the context of drawing conclusion from information, a conclusion is a statement or inference made based on the information provided, even if it is not explicitly stated. How to write conclusion? For the first, restate the thesis. An effective conclusion brings readers back to the point, reminding them of the purpose of the essay. However, avoid repeating your arguments verbatim. Paraphrase your argument slightly while still keeping the main point. The second, reiterate supporting point. In addition to stating your thesis, you should also reiterate the argument you have made to support it throughout the document. But instead of just repeating the article's arguments, summarize the ideas. The third, make a connection between opening and closing. Returning to the topic of the introduction is often very effective, giving the reader a clear sense of conclusion. You can achieve this by using similar concepts, returning to the original plot, or including similar image. The fourth, provide some insight. Your conclusion should leave the reader with a solution, insight, questions for further investigation, or a call to action. What is the significance of your arguments? Why should people care? You will want to answer these types of questions here and leave your audience with something to think about. The example of conclusion. When I walked into the kitchen, I found my little brother lying on the floor, clutching his stomach and groaning. He was surrounded by discarded candy wraps and the now empty bucket of Halloween candy. The analysis of the example. The little boy likely developed a stomachache because he consumed too much candy after Halloween. His symptoms, including clutching his stomach, groaning, lying on the floor, and the presence of candy wrappers around him, strongly suggest that offering indulgence in Halloween candy led to his discomfort and stomachache. The fact that he was the only one in pain and the candy basket was empty further supports this conclusion, indicating that he ate the candy to the point of causing himself physical discomfort. Different between inference and conclusion. In summary, inference are intermediate steps in reasoning that involve making logical deductions or educate guesses based on available evidence, while conclusions are the final definitive statements that summarize the overall findings or results of an argument or investigation. Inference can be provisional and subject to change, whereas conclusions are intended to be the ultimate outcomes of a process of reasoning or analysis. The conclusion from the material is: from the material above, we can conclude that drawing conclusions means concluding something by looking for information in the text, seeing phenomena directly or according to personal experience. Then we conclude from the data we are looking for, and drawing inference, that is, we see an event and then we conclude from what we see, but our conclusions are not necessarily in accordance with what the event means. Okay guys, that's all the material I can convey. Hopefully it's useful and understandable. Thank you for listening to my material.